Hi everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to make curtains for your Sylvanian Families dollhouse. What you need in order to make curtains is obviously you need fabric that suits with your wallpaper. I would suggest that you wallpaper your house first. So let me show you quickly my house. Here is the top floor of my Sylvanian Family school. I've already wallpapered it, as you can see here. So that's ready to go. So do the wallpapering first. And what you will need in order to make these curtains is obviously you will need fabric. I'll be using this cute yellow fabric with brown little like snowflakes in it. So that's going to be my fabric for the curtains. You will need a good pair of fabric scissors to cut the fabric. You will need some pins. You will need sewing thread. I'm using this white one. And you will also obviously need a needle because I'm hand sewing these. I always hand sew these curtains for dollhouses. But of course you can use a sewing machine if you want to. And also you need something to measure with. It can be a measuring tape, or if you want to, I often use my trusty old ruler. So that's pretty much what you need. But let me start by showing you what you need to do first. First you need to measure your windows, and you can use your measuring tape or your ruler, whatever you like. I often use my ruler. So what you will need to measure is the width of your window here, and then also the height of your window, and take exact measurements. Don't count anything extra to them yet. And since these two windows that I have here are both the same size, so I don't need to measure them separately. And then I'm going to show you my measurements here. These are in centimeters because this is simply what we use in my country. So the width of my window is 6.5 centimeters. And I want to make two curtains so that I have one on this side and one on that side. So two curtains. And since I want to make two curtains, I'm going to divide this by 2, and this will be 3.25 centimeters. And I need to add some seam allowances to that, so I'm adding 2 centimeters to this. That will be 5.25 centimeters. That will be my width. And the height is 7 centimeters, and I'm adding 2 centimeters to that, and this is again the seam allowance. That will make 9 centimeters. So the size of one curtain, and I'm going to make 2 of them, is 5.25 times 9. So that's going to be my measurement. So this is the same formula that you can use if you want to make 2 curtains for one window. Obviously, if you only want to make one curtain, then you would measure that. Let's say that you want to make a curtain that sort of starts from here like a half curtain and goes down here. Then you would obviously need the width, and then you would need to measure simply the length of what you want and add the seam allowances to that. So now we've done the measuring. Let's go on. After you have your measurements, it's time to cut off the pieces according to the measurements from your fabric. And I've done that. I've cut off 2 pieces from my fabric, and then I've turned my seam allowances to the wrong side. So I've kind of put my seam allowances in, and I've pinned it, as you can see. So this is going to be one of the curtains. Now, if you want ruffled curtains that, for example, are ruffled here at the top, you need to make your curtains width much more than what it would usually be. If I wanted to make a ruffled curtain, I would probably have doubled the width in this, or maybe added like, I don't know, half of the width more here. But you can try and see what you like. Some people like more ruffled curtains and some people like less ruffled curtains. But these are not ruffled curtains at all, because these will be in a school. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sewing this, and I'm going to sew this by hand. You can do this with the sewing machine, but I prefer to do it by hand because to me, it's easier to handle. It's kind of hard to handle these very tiny pieces on a big sewing machine, so that's why I like to do them by hand. And I have threaded my needle, and I have done my trademark wonky knot there at the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start doing very basic stitching, let's say from this corner. I'm just going to take the pin off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in through from here. And the reason why I'm doing this is that I want to hide the knot. I want to hide it there inside, and I'm going to push it in there. There's a little bit of thread. That's my dog, sorry about him scratching himself. I'm clearly enjoying it. So I just snipped that little extra bit off. Okay, so then I'm going to stitch back once. Oh, we don't want any knots here. So I'm just gonna stitch back once just to kind of secure that, and then I'm gonna go back. So I'm going to do this stitch again, and I always do this just to get a little bit of kind of like a sturdier beginning. Let's put it this way. There we go, and I'm stitching right on top of this stitch, just kind of doubling that stitch to make sure it holds well. There we go. And what I do then is I'm just stitching very, very basic stitches, and just little stitches like this. Very basic stitching. You can do, if you want to, you can do different type of stitching, but this is a simple stitch that pretty much everyone can do. So that's why I'm using it here. And if you want to secure these better, then I recommend you do this with a sewing machine so that you can zigzag here or whatever you want to do. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do these very simple stitches all around this, and then I'm going to finish it here, and then I'm also going to do the second curtain, which I have waiting here. I have finished sewing my curtains, and I decided to do a small ruffle here. So I'm going to show you how you can do the ruffle. Obviously, if you want to make really big curtains, a big ruffle, then this kind of thread that I'm using to make the ruffle might not be the best. This is just basic sewing thread. But this is how I've always done my ruffles for my dollhouse curtains, and it's worked just fine. So I'm just going to show you how I do this. So you don't need a lot of thread. I don't have a lot of thread here. So what I'm going to do is just pick any end here. Let me see which would be a good end. Let's go in here. I'm just going to go in underneath there, just in order to hide the knot. Nobody's really going to be watching this side a lot, so it doesn't really matter that much, but I'm just trying to hide it there. Okay, so then what I'm going to do in order to achieve the ruffle is I'm going to do big stitches along this top edge here. Let me show you. Just really kind of big stitches here, going in there, coming out there, going in there, really big. Okay, let me do that again. That wasn't even. I'm just trying to achieve kind of like a evenness here. There, I'm coming out there. That way. Pulling the thread. And now when I pull it, it's going to start ruffling. And obviously you want to imagine how much ruffle you want. I don't want a lot of ruffle for this. Let me see. I think that much ruffle might be good. So I'm holding on to this, and then I'm just gonna grab a little bit of fabric here, and I'm gonna do a loop here. So I'm just gonna kind of like fasten my thread here, and I'm gonna do another there, another little loop, another little knot there, maybe even a third one just to secure it. There we go, and just then bring my thread underneath there and snip it off. So now I have this little ruffle here, and you can work with it if you want to. But let me show you how to attach this to dollhouse. I've already attached the other one here. So there are lots of fancy ways of attaching these curtains to your dollhouse, but what I've done is I've put double-sided tape right here across the edge. So that's a really easy way to do this, and especially if you are a beginner, that's a super easy way to do this. So what I do is I just take my curtain there, kind of press it in place. So that holds on pretty well. And you can easily peel these off if you want to reposition them. Oops, sorry. So that should not be a big trouble moving these. So yeah, that's a really easy way to attach curtains onto your dollhouse. And I hope you enjoyed this and that you will try this with your Sylvanian Families dollhouse. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.